Alright, I haven't made a video in a super long time, but today I want to tell you guys about the time I was the worst drug dealer on planet Earth. When I tell this story, I am not glorifying my actions. I look back on this time period and think about how much of a scumbag I was, but it was only for 2 weeks, so, you know, I'm not the worst person on Earth. But with that preference out of the way, I want to tell you about my time in high school. I went to 2 different high schools during my scholastic career. The first one was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the second one was in Houston, Texas, but for some reason, my inner asshole, my inner demon was pulled out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, I wasn't very popular in high school, but I did hang out with a bunch of different types of people, which just led me to hang out with a bunch of different people. And one of the groups that I was exposed to, and the main one that I'll be talking about today, is the fake street kids. You know, Kyle, Zach, whatever the fuck white name you could think of. The kids in the suburbs that sag their pants and make SoundCloud music. There's 2 things you can't get those kids to stop doing. You can't get them to stop saying the N-word, and you can't stop them from buying terrible, terrible drugs. I only associated with these fucking idiots because weed was not yet legal, and they always had some really good edibles for some reason. They were getting shit from California and Colorado. It was just a great time. But as you might have picked up on, I did not smoke their weed because they were always selling some mid bullshit. I mean, it was that, and I was living with my grandparents. It's not like I could just smoke a blunt and be fine. But they were always selling some mid marijuana, and it really pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie. But not for the reason you might think. I did not give a fuck about the market at the time. I did not care. I was just mad that somebody else was making some easy money off of some mid bullshit and I wasn't. So I got in my capitalist dickhead bag and I formulated a plan to make some easy money off of the same exact shit as they were selling. So I walk up to Zach or Jesse or whatever the fuck white name you could possibly think of. Actually, think of names even whiter than that, like Bartholomew or something. So I walk up to Bartholomew and I say, I want to buy a few ounces off of you. Yes, I started big. I wanted the ounces. I needed to deal this shit immediately. So I bought the ounces off of him. It was a regular transaction. He said the N-word a few more times than I was comfortable with, and I got the fuck out of there. And then after I got the fuck out of there, I went to the local Albertsons because only old people work there, and it was easy as fuck to steal out of that store. I went to that Albertsons, I go to their bakery section, and I pick up some purple dye. You see, purple marijuana back then was super duper rare. If you had this shit, you were basically a king. I had only seen some weed with purple in it one time in my entire life at that point. It was fucking rare. So I head out of this Albertsons, and then I realize, I forgot to get Ziploc bags, so I double dip on this fucking Albertsons. I was a terrible person back then. I could see why, like, Walmart in Albuquerque has, like, armed security guards in front of every single store. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I go back home, go in my room, steal one of my grandmother's paintbrushes because she's really into arts and crafts. Fuck me, every single part of the story makes me seem like a complete asshole. But with my newly acquired stolen tool, I just dip a little bit of food coloring on top of this paintbrush, and then I dap that on the bud. Now, when I tell you this shit was not convincing at all, it was not convincing even in the slightest. Like, it was very obvious that somebody came in and dipped this super fucking dark purple on top of this super light green. It was, oh my god, it looked like shit. But keep in mind, I had never seen some, like, really good weed like that in person before, so I thought it looked completely fine. I was taking so many pictures of this, you know, like the stereotypical lay it on the desk and then put the flashlight on that hoe and just film it. I took those kind of videos, and then I went to the park and smoked a little bit, and I acted like it was the greatest shit ever. After taking all those videos that I was super proud of, I posted them on my Snapchat story because that was the method for fucking idiot high school dealers at the time. And somehow, with the world's worst fake sativa and the world's worst promo videos, I got a DM within 10 minutes. I was happy that it came so quick, but honestly, it might have been a little bit too quick because I had no clue what to price this weed. This guy asked for an eighth, and I had honestly never even bought an eighth before. I didn't smoke weed like that. I was mainly an edible guy. I still am. So I kind of just did the math for how much I bought and how much it would cost if I divided that into an eighth, and it came out to like, what, $15 or $20? I can't remember the exact number. And it came out to be that low of a number because it was terrible fucking weed. So I said, this is premium grade weed now. Now that it has a bit of purple dye on it, this is premium shit. So without doing any research, I just say, yeah, it's $55. $55 for an eighth. So of course he pushes back on it because that is the stupidest fucking price for this quality of weed possible. And I just tell him, brother, this is some shit that I got from California. Bro, my cousin brought this stuff over. I think something I unironically said was, brother, I smoked this weed and I woke up high the next day. It was incredible. But other than that, there was honestly nothing really special about that deal. I might have shorted the shit out of him. I wasn't really trying to finesse him even more than I already was, but you know, I might have shorted him. Other than that though, there's really nothing interesting about that part of the story. So I go back to school the next day. I think it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday. I don't remember the exact day, but it was one of those middle days where I was just bored out out of my mind, and you know, that's where I get bored out of my mind, is the middle of the week. But at the end of that school day, I was just so nervous because I knew I was gonna walk back to Bartholomew and try to sell him this shit wholesale. I was gonna try to walk right up to this kid and try to sell him back his own weed, just with a little bit of purple dye on it. But this deal did not go down as smoothly or as normally as the last deal. In fact, it was so irregular that he didn't even say the N-word one time. This man was absolutely grilling me. He was saying, man, if you got this shit for basically free, oh yeah, right. That's another element of the story. I told him that I got this weed for almost free from my cousin because he was feeling super generous, right? I was like 14, leave me alone. That's the best story I could come up with at the time. Anyway, he was like, if this shit was almost free and it's so good, why are you trying to sell it off to me? And I just gave him the same explanation that I gave to you. I said, hey, this weed stinks too much and I can't have it in the house because my grandparents go in my room too often. I actually don't think he fully bought this story. It was such a terrible lie that he just didn't believe it. I'm pretty sure he thought I like stole it off of somebody or whatever. But he makes me an offer, and I think it was maybe like 1.5 times the price that I got it off of him originally, which for me was no bueno. I wanted to make a fat stack off of his weed. It really wasn't even about the money at this point. I just really did not like this kid at all. This is another element of the story that I kind of forgot to mention. He would like switch his personality every couple of years. Like 2 years ago, he was a skater kid. This fucker tried to put on a California accent 2 years ago, and now you want me to believe that you're like from fucking Compton or something. Whatever, dude. So with that hatred in my heart, I make a counter offer like fucking ridiculous. I said like 5 times the original price. That shit made him so mad. He was like, motherfucker, I'm not buying that weed for that price. You're fucking tripping, dude. But brother, this was my capitalist dickhead brain in action. I needed to offer something ridiculous and then act like I was coming down super generously just for him, just because we're buds and I'm with him on a regular basis. I think I came down to something like 3 times the original price of the weed, which is probably the most money I've ever stolen from somebody. That was fucking ridiculous. Looking back on it though, I think I just helped him scam more people for more money because he sold that weed back out to the school. I was like the distributor and he was the dealer. It was fucked. I think I contributed to a problem that I hated. So if there is a moral to this story, the moral is do not buy weed from me. Do not buy weed from the guy who says the N-word way more than he ever should. And also, I do have a little spin-off story for this involving the same motherfucker. So if you want to hear that, just let me know in the comment section. Just like the video or whatever. I don't know. This is my first video in a super long time and it's a hard pivot from what I was doing before. I will not always be making storytime videos. My life has not been that interesting and the interesting parts have been like deeply traumatic and super personal, so I'm not telling you any of that shit. Anyway, thank you for watching. I just needed to pick up a microphone again. My DaVinci Resolve is lagging super fucking hard and it's really annoying. I can't fix it, but I still want to make videos anyway, so make sure to subscribe, make sure to like. I will be here. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even in the next month, but I will be here eventually. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like and subscribe. I've said this multiple times. Bye.